Tonight, the Premier to meet Spencer Gulf City leaders up to 4 times a year, and NAIDOC Week celebrations get underway across the region.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us this Friday evening. The Upper Spencer Golf Group has secured a commitment from Premier Stephen Marshall to meet 4 times per year. The group hopes the dialogue will help keep the government better informed about the needs of the region.
The Spencer Golf gaining a seat at the table. Regional leaders will now have direct access to the heart of the government through routine meetings with the Premier Stephen Marshall.
The Premier's taken a very unusual step and organised a 4-monthly meeting with the Upper Spencer Gulf cities, being Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Pirie.
The Upper Spencer Golf Group believes talks of key stakeholders will give the region a stronger voice. Adelaide will host the first of 2 meetings, with a third to be hosted in one of the 3 Spencer Gulf cities.
This is an absolute breakthrough in the smaller regions being able to talk to the government of the day and absolutely compliment the Premier on his initiative with it.
Port Augusta's mayor says his council will use the talks to lobby for new airport infrastructure.
Looking for support for our airports and Port Augusta upgrade it for lighting so we can have further landings during the night, possibly for FIFO efforts.
However, Labor says the government is just making up for the axing of country cabinet.
The current Liberal government seems to be afraid of fronting up to just the general population.
Our government doesn't think that a big circusy roadshow is necessarily the way to go.
The first meeting will happen next month. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Port Augusta Ratepayers Association has criticised this year's council budget, with fears the rates are too high. The local group says the level of services in the town does not warrant the rate increase.
After months of deliberation, the Port Augusta Council has settled on this year's budget, but it hasn't got everyone's tick of approval.
Well, we're disappointed with the budget.
The Ratepayers Association fired up over a general rates revenue increase of 3.2%.
We're hoping with the cuts that they made would go for a lesser rate than what they have.
But Mayor Brett Bembo says only the top-tier ratepayers will have to fork out that amount.
Keep bearing in mind 73% of the general ratepayer will pay less than 2.4.
The Ratepayers Association has welcomed new council measures to beautify the CBD, but questions whether other services offered warrant the increase in rates. Vice Chairman Maurice Pirie says the council should look to imitate Adelaide, where services are reportedly offered for half the rates of Port Augusta.
They do hard waste collection on the curbside, 2 free dump days a year.
The focus for council already turning to next year in a bid to shave an operating deficit of over $3 million. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
NAIDOC Week's officially kicked off, with hundreds turning up in force for the opening march in Port Lincoln. This year's theme focusing on the inclusion of Indigenous people in political decision-making.
Marching together, celebrating the history and culture of Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders. Hundreds turning out in Port Lincoln today for this year's opening NAIDOC ceremony.
It's good to have the wider community involved and get everyone understanding that it's good to come together and to be inclusive.
This year's theme is Voice, Treaty, Truth, 3 words honouring the history of the traditional landowners and celebrating their stories.
It's bringing the white and Aboriginal communities together, and just hopefully that it can just keep on going throughout the community.
Walkers here today say it's not just about celebrating Indigenous culture and heritage, but working together as we march towards a shared future.
Hopefully that it can continuously just keep on going with the Aboriginal culture, so it's teaching the younger ones as well.
A dozen schools joining in on the march, with students walking side by side with elders. The week-long event acknowledging the past while trying to heal the wounds.
It's a good turnout. I enjoyed looking at all the children all dressed up and so on, but yeah, they put on their colours, and yeah, it was a good turnout.
Today's march signalling a week of celebration with more events planned.
On Friday evening we've got the quiz trivia night down at Mallee Park Football Clubs, and then on Saturday is to close, we've got the NAIDOC Ball.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And students at Stirling North Primary have got a taste of Indigenous culture as part of their school's NAIDOC celebrations. Students feasting on native bush tucker, as well as trying clay modelling, painting, jewellery making and spear throwing. The event also featuring a performance from Port Augusta's own Dusty Feet Mob.
Australia has a very rich culture with arts, crafts, dance and music, and we should be able to share it with the world.
Teachers say these celebrations help teach children about cultural diversity at a young age. Food looks delicious there. A local petition gaining more than 180 signatures has been successful in reducing the speed limit along a busy road in Elliston. The speed near the Anxious Bay turnoff has been reduced from 80 kilometres to 60. Mayor Malcolm Hancock says poor visibility of oncoming traffic made it a dangerous intersection for drivers.
It's just not safe with heavy vehicles coming down there and boats and cars turning onto or off of Anxious Bay Road.
The Transport Department approved the change last month. Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln's footy players take part in a mental health survey, and Port Augusta's Racing Club saddles up for its annual Cup Day. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's footy clubs have opened up about their mental health, with over 100 footballers responding to a recent survey. The results helping researchers understand mental well-being in regional areas.
Tackling the issues affecting men's mental health. A recent survey into Port Lincoln's football team shining a light on mental wellness in regional South Australia.
The top 5 issues affecting men in the community, they were alcohol and drugs, financial security, family issues, social pressures and relationships.
The 9-week community survey gained more than 110 responders from local football clubs. The results identifying 91% of respondents experienced feelings of depression and anxiety.
All guys go through it. It's just a tough thing, and it's just, I guess, varying depths, and some just get in that hole and can't seem to find a way out.
Steve Prout says he's not surprised by the high number experiencing mental health issues in the football community.
There's a lot of expectations placed on the youth, and particularly the young guys, to achieve and to be the best and to succeed and to lead the way and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of pressure out there.
The survey results shedding light on mental health within regional communities, hoping to start the conversation on mental well-being in football clubs. Earlier this week, Magpie star Dave Beams opened up about his own struggles with mental health.
Even one of Australia's best footballers, they suffer from depression as well. So I think it's a really, really tough thing that young men and men go through.
If you or someone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Pirie will host the Global Maintenance Group Trade Conference this year. Event organisers are expecting hundreds to attend the event at the Northern Festival Centre. In its 15th year, the conference brings the mining and resource industry together for 3 days of networking. The venue rotates each year between Port Pirie, Port Augusta and Whyalla. This year's focus will be on the region's renewable energy projects, the upcoming transformation of the Whyalla Steelworks, and the Port Pirie smelter upgrade. Adelaide University researchers have visited Port Pirie to discuss smart technologies with the city's older residents. They hope to better understand how technology can help elderly people.
From driverless transport to robotic carers, technology is on the rise to help look after our region's ageing population. But with things moving so fast, older residents can be left out of the conversation.
Older people themselves aren't actually asked about what they might want or need, and we thought it would be really useful to actually talk to some older people.
The University of Adelaide conducting research into what older Australians really think about smart technologies, holding a discussion in Port Pirie's library to gain a perspective from those living regional.
It's accessible from Adelaide, but it's certainly a major regional area with a really diverse population. And certainly older people as well.
Dr. Jackie Street is concerned with the development of technologies, which are generally built without older Australians in mind. She says engineers and IT experts can overlook consumer needs.
One of the problems at the moment is that a lot of new technologies are being designed without actually asking older people what the problems are that they need to overcome.
Particularly some of the challenges or barriers that might be there, because once we know those, then there may be ways of overcoming them.
Australia's rapidly ageing population is putting increased demand on the healthcare sector, requiring people to remain independent for longer.
More people are going to need to be able to stay at home as long as possible, and I think actually people want to stay at home as long as possible.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Over 2,000 punters are expected through the gates for this weekend's Port Augusta Cup. The racing club spruiking a variety of activities, with police also issuing a stern warning for racegoers to do the right thing.
With 14 years' experience as a trainer, Darren Benetti still struggles for words to describe the emotions of racing in the Port Augusta Cup.
The feeling it's something you can't describe.
After winning the coveted race in 2015, he's hoping this year his horse Sizzling Bullet will live up to its name.
He's a horse that gets back in the field a little bit, so hopefully he can settle nicely and have a nice run.
The marquees are up and the track is getting the treatment ahead of Sunday's race meet, the centrepiece of the local racing calendar set to attract thousands trackside.
People talking about it at the hairdressers and in the clothes shops, all getting ready for this year's major event.
Free entry for under 18s, face painting and jumping castles, helping cater for the youngest of race fans. For the adults, Fashions on the Field will celebrate the pomp and pamper. This year will also see the return of live entertainment.
Really excited to welcome the hooligans on track, so that's going to create quite a party atmosphere.
Police are also preparing for the large volume of racegoers and have antisocial revellers in their sights.
Anyone who misbehaves at the event can expect to be removed from the event.
As well as those who overindulge and take to the roads.
Certainly don't drink drive. We'll have a very heavy traffic policing presence, so that'd just be incredibly stupid.
Buses will be available at the grounds.
Come and have a great day with the Port Augusta community, dress to impress and travel safely.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Good luck to everyone racing. It's a fantastic event. I wish I was there this year. Stay with us after the break. Our footy experts will preview the weekend's matches, and Britt will have the weekend weather forecast. Hello again. It's the end of an era for Port Pirie's YMCA building on Gertrude Street, with the old dance hall being pulled down. It's making way for increased parking spaces at the Port Pirie Hospital. The building has been a popular facility since the 1950s. It's been used as a gymnastics stadium, squash court and a meeting place for residents. However, it's most fondly remembered as a dance hall and live venue for teenagers. Work will soon begin on the new car park. Time for a preview of the weekend's footy action. Here's our experts with their tips.
Hello and welcome to round 10 of SGL football. This round we've got Central taking on South at Central Oval in Port Augusta. I'm tipping South. In Pirie, it's the Lions who meet West at Memorial Oval and Port hosting Sully at Port Oval. I'm tipping the Lions over West and Sully's to take the points against Port.
Round of football coming up this weekend. Rapina plays South Wyler. Last time they played it was very close and it could be South's last chance to get a victory for the season, but I think the Roos will be too good. Saturday's game will be the match of the round at Memorial Oval, West Wyler versus Central Wyler. Fierce rivals, Centrals will take it right up to West, but I think the Dragons should win. And finally on Sunday it's North Wyler versus Marina Bay. North are going from strength to strength, lots of talent there, and I think the Magpies will have a win.
And with the weekend weather forecast, here's Britt.
Thanks, John. It's been warm and sunny across the region today. Port Augusta reached a top of 23, Whyalla and Port Pirie 21, Broken Hill 20, Adelaide 19, and Port Lincoln with a little cloud cover and a top of 17. Looking to the clouds now with a low pressure trough moving over the Nullarbor this evening before continuing over our region on the weekend. Moving to tomorrow, and we'll start on the waters with northeasterly winds at up to 20 knots and seas at 1 metre. We'll see similar temperatures to today, but with showers instead of sunshine, particularly about the Eyre Peninsula and the West Coast. Port Augusta expecting a top of 23, Whyalla partly cloudy and 22, Woodner and Port Pirie both 21, Corn, Broken Hill and Cleve all 20, Port Lincoln, Coffin Bay, Kadina all 19, Adelaide also 19, and if you're travelling down for the showdown, be prepared for some afternoon showers. Clare a top of 18 tomorrow. Looking ahead now to the 4-day forecast with more showers expected on Sunday ahead of a fine and sunny start to next week. Port Lincoln with maximums of 17 Sunday through till Tuesday, the same at Cleve. Woodner fine on Sunday, a top of 18, the same again on Monday. Whyalla and Port Lincoln both expecting showers on Sunday ahead of a mostly sunny start to next week. Maximums in the late teens. Kadina 16 on Sunday, Monday 15. Port Pirie 17 on Sunday and Monday, Clare with maximums in the early to mid-teens, and Broken Hill a top of 20 on Sunday, Monday 17. So John, we've got a showery weekend ahead, but it's looking dry into next week, and with that, it's back to you.
Brett, have a lovely weekend. And that's the local news for tonight and the week. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll have some updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your evening and enjoy the showdown tomorrow. On behalf of the team, it's good night.